SEO in 2024 is going to be wildly different than it's ever been before. In this video, I'll share with you my top 5 predictions on why SEO is going to change, and most importantly, how you can prepare for those changes. If we haven't met before, my name is Matt Diggity, and I'm the founder of the 7-figure SEO businesses Diggity Marketing, LeadSpring, the Search Initiative, Authority Builders, the Affiliate Lab, and the Chiang Mai SEO Conference. Before I became an SEO expert, I got a master's in electrical engineering. I still use that education and experience today to create single variable tests and reveal what Google's algorithms are actually doing behind the scenes. And based on what I'm seeing, the internet is about to turn into the upside down if you can appreciate the Stranger Things reference. It's about to get weird. In this video, we'll talk about Google SGE and how Google is about to steal traffic from websites to answer questions with AI. How webmasters are going to fight that traffic loss with AI content generation, and how that's already changed the internet forever. How the importance of backlinks will change. What's going to happen with Parasite SEO and sites like Outlook India and Forbes taking over the top spots. And lastly, we'll finish up with how Google updates like the helpful content update will affect your website in 2024. But before we get started, I want to toss you an invite to my free SEO training masterclass. It goes over everything I'm going to be doing in 2024 to get sites to the top of Google. Sign up using the link in the pinned comment. Let's kick things off talking about Google answering search queries with AI, which they're calling Search Generative Experience, or SGE. Or as SEO experts like to call it, we are fucked. At the Google I/O Conference 2023, Google announced and demoed SGE. When a user types a question into the search bar, this SGE box will generate an answer for them as opposed to the typical process of showing a list of websites. This isn't good for people that create websites. If users are getting their answers from AI, that means that there's no need to find those answers on websites, which means less traffic, less ad revenue, and less conversions. This would completely disrupt the SEO industry. Less people are going to want SEO services, agencies are going to experience high customer churn, and tons of people are going to abandon SEO as a way of making money. But there may be an alternative future, which I'll get to soon. I predict that SGE will be fully rolled out by Q2 2024, at the very latest Q3. Based on an ungodly Baldur's Gate 3 amount of time I've spent playing around with SGE, an AI answer will show up in almost every single thing you could possibly search for, except for gray niches like CBD, casino, adult, and so forth. Google specifically said that there's some topics for which SGE is not designed to give a response, but based on my tests, these queries are very rare. Will this be the end of the SEO industry? Should you start polishing up your resume to apply at McDonald's? No, SEO won't die. And that's simply because SGE isn't going to get the adoption level that the SEO doomsday preppers are predicting. And here's my reasons for that in order of increasing importance. First off, it's slow as shit. This is how it works. You search for something, it starts generating the AI result, and about 8 seconds later it shows you the SGE section. It's too slow. 8 seconds too slow. People want immediate results. That said, this will improve over time, so let's move on to the next reason AI won't have the adoption level we're afraid of. In most cases, humans don't want an answer from an AI. In February, I'm taking my family on a trip to Hokkaido. I want to know the top 3 restaurants there. Do I want that from an AI who doesn't even eat? Hell no, I'm gonna read some foodie blog instead. Let's say you're looking for a caffeine-free pre-workout. Would you take that advice from an AI who doesn't even lift, bro? And Google knows this. They're not stupid.
Even in a world where AI can provide insights, we know that people will always value the input of other people, and a thriving web is essential to that.
And in these cases where people are scrolling past and ignoring the AI answer, eventually Google will stop serving them. Running AI is expensive for Google. They're not going to waste that computation cost. The next reason that AI won't run rampant is because Google is afraid of the AI messing up. Lily Ray gave a great talk about SGE in August and pointed out some fumbles. Here's SGE saying, here's a map of Rome, and then just word vomiting with no map. And here's it quoting a price for a candy bar at $129. Google just released a new iteration of their helpful content update. The most impactful update since I don't even know when. In their release notes, they explicitly say that they're focused on content with little value, low added value, or is otherwise not particularly helpful to people, such as missing the price of a candy bar by 50x. Google is very aware of the limitations of large language models, such as misinterpretations, hallucinations, and bias. They're also very aware that if they piss off their users, that opens a market share gap for another search engine. The next reason is that if they stop sending traffic to websites, they'll discourage creators from writing content, and then their AI will get worse over time because it will have nothing to learn from. Large language models learn from scraping the web. If there's nothing to scrape, then the AI is just going to get dumb and dumber over time.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
And this next reason is all you need to hear. The one reason to rule them all and in the darkness bind them. Google will never make a move that isn't profitable, or at the very least, profit neutral. Check out this SGE result. Do you see any ads up here? Nope. They're actually pushing ads down their search result with this bulky SGE block. And when ads are lower, they get less clicks, which means Google's customers will pay less for them. Not to mention, if they're not sending traffic to websites anymore because they're answering questions with AI, then why would anyone ever pay for ads on Google's display network? Google makes $162 billion a year from search ads and $32 billion from display ads. You'd have to be smoking some primo crack to think they're gonna mess with that. And judging by the look of the new light SGE layouts they're testing, it looks like this fear of losing ad revenue is manifesting in their code. At the end of the day, Google is a public company that has a fiduciary duty to maximize profits for its customers. That said, no matter how you look at it, we're gonna lose some traffic. So what should you do about that? Easy. Let's move on to my next SEO 2024 prediction. 90% of the content produced in 2024 will be written with AI. In 2023, the human content industry has already been disrupted. Content agency niche website builders went bankrupt due to, quote, the steep rise in AI content resulting in an incredibly quick decline in revenue. And Google is not going to penalize you for your AI content. They're married to it now. They even changed their helpful content documentation from, quote, helpful content written by people for people to helpful content created for people. And even if they're lying about their stance about AI, OpenAI has gone on record writing that AI writing detectors just plain don't work. The floodgates are open, people. If you're getting a 20% haircut in traffic from SGE, great. Then at the very least, you need to increase your content production by 20% to match that. But with AI, 20% is nothing. Before I used to publish 3 articles per day per website and it was costing me a fortune. Now I'm publishing 10 articles per day at a fraction of the cost with Surfer AI. To add, in today's Google algorithm, it loves topical authority. Having 300 articles on a topic is way stronger than having 10 perfect articles. That's why AI is so key. 300 articles can be done in a month. Real quick, here's a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Ahrefs. You may know Ahrefs as an all-in-one SEO tool used by many professionals in the industry, but it's also a great resource for those who are just starting to work on their website and learn about SEO. If you're looking to improve your SEO knowledge or to start learning about SEO, visit Ahrefs Academy. It features courses on blogging, link building, a beginner's SEO course, and more. Also, if you want to improve your website's ranking but don't know where to start, sign up for Ahrefs Webmaster Tools. It's a free tool that will show you what errors prevent your website from ranking higher. Go to ahrefs.com/AWT and start improving your website today. Now back to the video. There is going to be some major backlash to this flood of AI content though. AI copies existing articles and basically rewrites them, which is why I think Google needs to actually start rewarding information gain when you're adding something new to your content that the other articles don't cover. I think they're making some steps towards this already. Reddit and Quora got alarmingly huge traffic boners after the last helpful content update, and Unique Perspective is just about all this content has going for it. User RobotMirror9 can rank #1 on Google for his opinion on DUI law despite having legal credentials of a piece of cheesecake. So if you're using AI to generate content, try to add some unique experience to it. Surfer AI users are able to accomplish this with the custom knowledge feature. But if you ask me, I think that Google's fully decked out content algorithms are already way too expensive to run. And just because you wrote something new into your content, how does Google know it's true? So my guess is that they'll just turn up the volume on another ranking factor to decide who wins in 2024. Our old friend, backlinks. Backlinks in 2024 will become an even stronger ranking factor than they are today. And that's despite Google saying that they're no longer a top 3 ranking factor. Yes, it's entirely possible that backlinks got demoted as a ranking factor a little bit. I highly doubt it though. Just look at the search results for literally anything and tell me backlinks aren't important. Keyword, best fat burner, DR96, DR88, DR83, and a ton of these websites are Parasite SEO platforms, which I'll get to soon. Best crypto wallet, DR84, 94, and 90. Good luck with that. And despite backlinks being such an easy ranking factor to manipulate, they still thrive as being the decision maker of the internet. Why is that? As I alluded to earlier, being Google is expensive. The cost of information retrieval is huge. According to this article on kevinkelly.org, every time you search, it costs Google about 0.3 cents. Bro, there's 8.5 billion searches per day. That adds up. Imagine this meeting at Google HQ. Hey boss, I'd like to implement a complex AI system to determine if the author of a website has experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. We'll call it EAT. Boss says, how much will that cost? My computations say it will cost about $5 for each website. There's 1.1 billion websites on the internet. Please shut your mouth. We have a business to run here. Keep it how it is and let links continue to be an indicator of experience, expertise, and whatever. Now sure, this is a made up scenario, but Google said it themselves. EAT is, quote, largely based on links. Why? Because it's so cheap to keep track of. This page links to that page links to this page, and so forth. So in 2024, do I think that the importance of backlinks will decline? I highly f***ing doubt it.
Confidence.
If Google is jeopardizing their own revenue model with SGE, they're not going to make their expenses go through the roof. So what kind of backlinks should you build in 2024? Here's the links I'm building, and yes, I made some changes. 10% comes from digital PR, creating viral stories and getting them in front of journalists to place on sites like the Washington Post. For this, I'm using Ferry and the smart folks at searchintelligence.co.uk. 5% of the links will come from Help a Reporter Out, which we build in-house. This used to be 15%, but it's recently been flooded. 40% of the links I'm building are guest posts, and these are coming from in-house outreach and using vendors like Authority Builders. Another 30% of my links will come from link insertions. That is, getting links from existing articles. And I build these in-house and outsource to Authority Builders. 3% is coming from business directory citations, which I outsource to Guess Who, Authority Builders. And the remaining 12% is from link exchanges, which had previously scaled up from 2%. And what I'm talking about here is not just answering my inbox with link requests and doing exchanges, but instead forming long-term partnerships with other link builders. Something like, hey man, next time you sneak me a link into one of your guest posts, I'll do the same for you. Don't sleep on these IOU link exchanges. They scale really well. Now speaking of backlinks, this leads me to my next 2024 prediction. Parasite SEO is going to get regulated, fixed, nerfed, whatever you want to call it, by Google. In my last two prediction videos, I said that Parasite SEO wouldn't get touched. This year I've changed my mind. What is Parasite SEO? When you do a search for a keyword like best testosterone booster, on page 1 you'll see a ton of sites like Outlook India, Herald.net, and Dallas News. Are these websites experts on hormones? Nope, they're just prehistoric newspapers with tons of links that are selling placements to SEOs so they can piggyback off that domain authority. Myself included, guilty as charged. And although I'd lose cash flow if Google ban-hammered Parasite SEO, unfortunately they're already taking a look at it. You can see here in their addition to the helpful content guidelines saying that if you host third-party content on your main site or in your subdomains, understand that such content may be included in their site-wide signals. And then they say that they recommend that these sites would block this unhelpful content from being indexed on Google. Why are they finally taking action? Because these articles typically don't demonstrate what Google says they want. Going back to this article, there's no eat. They don't even say who wrote it. In fact, at the bottom of the article, the publisher says that they had absolutely nothing to do with writing the content and they aren't liable for it. The review of this product doesn't even show evidence of using the product, personal experience, or even how it stacks up on criteria that would pertain to testosterone boosters. All stuff that Google says is important in the review guidelines. I'm not hating on Parasite SEO. Like I said, I do a bit of it myself. I just think it's gotten a bit too much attention from SEOs taking content shortcuts with it. Google's hand was forced, and they're already taking action. Just look at the traffic loss of Outlook India's sponsored section. How do I think Google is dealing with this? Manual penalties. Google can't remove the influence that links have in the overall algorithm. They'll break so much other stuff like how they determine eat. So if you're a Parasite guy, I'd be thinking about diversifying in 2024. The next SEO prediction for 2024 is that we, website owners, will get a better handle on recovering from and avoiding Google update penalties.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
Look, I know 2023 wasn't the easiest year for webmasters. The September helpful content update, followed by the October spam update, followed by the October core update, felt like getting beat up by Conor McGregor, the Hulk, and Mike Tyson at the same time. But on the bright side, at least with the helpful content documentation, Google has said that their quote, classifier runs continuously, meaning that if you fix your site today, you can see improvement tomorrow. The feedback loop to get results from your tweaks now is faster than ever before. Before, you'd have to wait months and months to see if your theories came true. Now it's days. I've already been able to make a 28% recovery on one site from the helpful content update. Now I know I haven't published any of my findings on the helpful content update yet. I'm not holding out on you, I just haven't quite got to the bottom of it yet. I have my theories, but I just haven't recovered enough sites to say I have a repeatable plan. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my helpful content update video or any other content like this.